let us begin. This is our balance workshop. I'm so happy you are all here. I think this is a great way to kick off the new year. My word for this year is balance. So I'm talking physical balance, like standing on one leg, balance between work and play, being out in the world and kind of hunkering down, right? So finding balance in all aspects of my life. That's my plan for this year. Would you sit with me for a moment or stand? So if you don't have a chair, you can do this from standing, but I'm going to sit and talk you through a very short meditation just to sort of set our tone for today. And then we're going to get into a little bit of movement. You can decide how much of this you want to do. You're going to get the recording later. So if you just want to sit and watch what we're doing today, that would be a huge success. You get a gold star, A+ for just showing up. If you've had a surgery or injury or something with your foot or knee and you're like, I don't know about this move, you can stop and watch what we're doing. You can do, I'm going to give you what's called a regression, back it up a little, and then a progression. So here's your stand on both feet. Here's your stand on one leg. So you'll have options for all these moves. Okay, enough chit chat. Let's get to it. Have a seat or stand, your choice. If you're able to comfortably close your eyes, if that feels comfortable for today, close your eyes, take a big deep breath. Big exhale. Sigh, relax your mouth, relax your back, relax your neck. Notice your feet on the floor. If you're seated, notice your hips or your back on the chair or the furniture. And just notice your mental state, your physical state. Notice if anything's jumping out at you, right? Just ache somewhere. Does everything feel really good? And then can we today, I've got 3 things for us. Can we be kind? Can we be curious? And can we be courteous? So think about what it would mean to be kind to yourself for the next 40 minutes. Kind to me. This is my first time doing this class. It's a brand new thing. Can you be kind to the other people in our group today? And then if you were to be really curious about your body, about these exercises, these concepts, if you had this childlike curiosity about what we're going to get up to today, what would that feel like? And then being courteous, that just means keeping yourself on mute. If you have questions, you can write yourself a little note or you can put questions in the chat and we'll go over them at the end. I'll save some time at the end. And another thing to be courteous, maybe can you give me your full attention for the next 30, 40 minutes? Can you really put everything away? Put your phone away. If you can close yourself in a room with no distractions from the rest of the house. Can you really be here with us for this next half an hour or so? Maybe turn off any dingy things on your computer, any alerts. And then once more, noticing your feet. Ooh, bring yourself all the way down to your toes. Notice if they're flat or curled under. Is there space between your toes? Notice your arches and your heels. Does it feel like you're evenly weighted left and right? Or is there more weight in one foot, one leg? And again, we're just checking. We'll do this again at the end. We're not looking for a right or wrong answer. We're just gathering information. And then once we go through some moves, we'll check again at the end and see if anything's changed. Take another big deep breath. And then you can slowly open your eyes and let's start to play with our feet. So I'm in toe socks that have little grippy things on them. If you're in shoes, you can still go through all these exercises. You'll just have a little bit less movement. I'm going to start to lift and lower my toes. So I'm lifting and lowering all 10 toes. And I'm basically just doing this with my little toesies, lifting and lowering. Notice how easy or challenging that is to lift and lower your toes. What happens? Oh, let me look at it. What happens when you lift your toes? What happens to your ankle muscles, the muscles on the top of your feet? And then try lifting and lowering your heels. Easy does it. Lift and lower. And notice the muscles in your calves. And then you could do the same thing from standing, come up to standing. The reason I had you grab a chair, it could be helpful when we're doing some of this foot stuff to hang on to something. So I'm not hanging on for dear life. It's that same exact thing, lifting and lowering your toes. Can you lift just your big toe or just your other 4 toes? Does that change what's happening in your ankles? Can you lift your heels? So we're just experimenting. This is a version of a calf raise, but we're not going to do a ton of any of these moves. Now you can always come back to your chair for any of this. I'm just going to start to lean on the outside edge of one foot and then come back to the middle. And then I'm leaning on the outside edge of my foot. So if my foot started out flat, I'm leaning to the pinky toe side, leaning. So if you get up and you go, "Ooh, that's too much," just sit back down. And you're going to do the same thing over here, leaning so my leg can move, my knee can turn out. You could lean in on the big toe side of your foot. So this is just a little curious cat observation. How many different ways can I move my foot and ankle? In and out, forward and back. Can you lean, if you're standing, lean your whole weight forward? What happens when you do that? Do your toes grip or can they stay flat? What happens when you bring your weight back into your heels? Whoa. So hang on to the chair, hang on to the wall. This is just a little experiment. Now let's start to take a little walk. Okay, so just walk in any old way. This isn't like a fitness walk or a thing that you're supposed to be doing. Just walk, take a few steps. If you have a tiny little space like me, the size of a yoga mat, you can just walk the length of your mat. You could walk backwards. Go slow. Take tiny little steps at first. Turn yourself around, walk backwards. What do you notice? You could walk sideways. So you could do like a little grapevine. If you ever did aerobics in the 80s, remember the grapevine? Yeah. How does that feel to walk sideways? You could do a little side step like this. So when you walk, just walking around town, around your house, are you a shuffler? Do you tend to shuffle or scoot your feet? And so for today, could you practice as you walk, rolling through your feet? And again, this will be different if you're in a really sturdy shoe, but you'll still have the ability to roll a little bit. I'm barefoot or in socks, so I can get quite a bit of flexion in my big toe. So see what that feels like to roll through your feet. So I'm doing a lot of foot focus to start because this is going to help us with our balance stuff, having some good mobility and strength in your feet and your toes. Okay, I'm going to go back to having the chair. I'm going to offer you a little challenge, ladies. Let's see. Could we stand on one leg? So I'm going to set an open-ended timer for a minute. If you get in trouble, put your foot down. So I'm standing near my chair or my wall. Okay, let me get my timer going. So I'm going to give us a minute and I'll give you a countdown to 30 seconds. Are we ready? So I'm just lifting my foot and holding one foot off the ground. Okay, here's our minute. Here we go. Hang on to your chair. Lift your foot. And it can be any position. You could do like your tree pose from yoga. You could have your big toe on the ground. If you don't need your hand on your chair, you could take your arm off. Whoa. It's okay if you're moving. If this feels kind of wobbly, Yeah, you're still building strength and muscular endurance in that foot and ankle. There's 30 seconds. So if you need a break, take a break. If you can stay here, stay here. We've got another half a minute. Okay, so one of my buddies, her relative had a fall recently and it resulted in a hip fracture. So she didn't need surgical, any intervention. She just needed rest. But when she had this fall, okay, we're in the home stretch. Can we go 5 seconds? 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. There's your minute. Come on down and take a rest. How we do? So if you want to make a little note, how long did I hold my first leg, or just keep that in your brain? This is something you can practice, and over time, it'll get easier and you'll be able to hold for longer. Okay, let's go leg number 2. I'm starting our 1 minute timer. Here we go. Okay, so my friend's granny had a fall. She was the caretaker for her husband who's going through some dementia type cognitive issues. He needs care, full-time care. So when she went to go live with her sister, that meant my friend had to now take care of the grandpa. So it was this ripple effect from this fall. She's now recovering. She's back to doing weight bearing. She can walk and go upstairs. But it affected the whole family and like multi-generational family, because her fall then put her in bed for a couple of weeks. She had a minor fracture. There's 30 seconds, by the way, over 30 seconds. And I think one of the reasons it wasn't a worse injury, she's a constant mover. She's always doing something around the house, clean and tidy and cooking. She goes to the yard and she's picked up a hedge and dug it up and moved it across the yard. So she's just one of these people that's constantly doing something, not necessarily an exercise class, but she's strong and has good mobility. Okay, that was your 1 minute. Take a rest. So I tell you that story because I think it's so important for us to maintain hip mobility, foot strength as we age, because it's likely that we're going to have a fall at some point. Okay, that was our single leg balance. Let's try some kind of bouncing. So your bouncing could be tiny little bouncing of your heels. That could be all you do. If you're able to really get a little hoppy kind of thing going, you could soften your knees. Yeah. However you wish to bounce. If you want to sit down and just lift and lower your heels or lift and lower your toes. So do something that feels comfortable today, bouncy wise. Okay, so the other thing I want to say about bones, we need strong and flexible bones. And so we don't think about your bones being bouncy. You think about them being kind of hard, but there is squishiness and vascular stuff in your bones. And so having both strength and this bouncy quality to your tissue, and then especially your ankles. So doing things that allow you to bounce. If you wish, you could try a little hop from side to side. So that could be one foot onto the other, transferring your weight. This could be really slow. If you want to try a little quicker hop, and if any of this, if you're like, oh, I don't know about this hopping thing, come and sit, take a rest. Let's see what this feels like to do a little gentle hop. If you can do both feet, that would be more challenging, right? Coming off of both feet, a little bunny hop. Okay, take a little rest, have a seat. So my intention with these moves is just to give you sort of a catalog of exercises that you can play with. Not that we're doing necessarily a big workout today, but if you go, man, that balance thing was challenging, or I don't have this bouncy quality to my tissue, doing some of these moves. Yeah, really good. Okay, what do we got next? Oh, let's do our tightrope. So start with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance and just see how that feels. And that can be seated or standing. And then bring your feet to where they're almost touching or legs maybe together. Does that feel any different balance-wise? And then next step would be, can you stand on an imaginary tightrope? Can you put one foot in front of the other? Whoa. So remember, you got your chair, you got your wall. If you get in trouble, just hang on to your chair. Try the other foot. Stand on your imaginary tightrope. If you need a break, take a break. If you wish to try walking, you could step one foot in front of the other. Whoa, don't lose your balance. And then step your other foot. So imagine you got a little tightrope. So the narrower you go with your gait, the more challenging it becomes. A wider stance is easier. So you can either stand still, you can try walking your tightrope. Yep. And then take a little rest. Okay, I do want to try a little squat variation. Guess what? Getting up and down out of a chair is a squat. So we're going to do some squats, and we're only going to do about 5 minutes real slow. See what it feels like to bring your feet out so that your ankles are stacked directly under your knees. Put your hands on your legs, lean forward, and then see if you can come up to standing from there. So that's it. That's our squat we're going to do. Okay, now sit your hips back. If you need to, reach back and grab the chair or move your feet back. Hang on to the chair if you need. Have a seat. So we're just going to do about 5 of these guys. I'm trying to avoid having my feet tucked underneath me. So see if you can have feet out. Push hands into your legs if you need to. Stand up. Sit down. So this is a nice basic squat. It's going to give you some good strength in your hips, mobility. What did I say? 5, I'm on 3. I'm just going to do 2 more. So if this feels easy, great, good for you. You're doing a great job. If this feels challenging, this could be something you could practice. Coming up out of your chair, keeping your knees in that 90. Yeah. Okay, let's try a little calf raise, and then we're going to do some good hip mobility. How we doing so far? So far, so good. I'm just going to keep blasting right along. You guys are doing great. Calf raise is just lifting and lowering your heels. So I'm going to show from the side. Hang on to your little thingy. If you have a low chair like me, just watch that you're not hunkered down over your chair. See if you can keep your chest pretty upright. I'm just going to lift my heels and lower. We're just going to do 5 of these. Lift and lower. So notice how high can you get your heels, and can you keep yourself pretty stacked upright? So meaning my head floats over my shoulders, over my ribs. If you don't need your little balance buddy, you could put your hands on your hips. Okay, if that felt pretty easy, if that felt hard, stop, take a rest, do that again. If that was easy, I got another challenge. 1 leg off the ground. Oh boy, let's try it and see. Lift your heel and lower. Yeah, and lift. If that's too crazy, just stand on 1 leg and balance. We got 3, 2, last 1. Take a little rest break, take a little walk, take a seat. You can always rest. Yeah, I'm going to do side number 2. Okay, so heel, 1 leg off the ground, heel lift and lower. Does this leg feel any different? And lift and lower. We're just going to do 3, 2, last 1. Okay, take another little rest break. And then 1 more time, notice your feet, notice your legs, maybe close your eyes for a second. So we did a little walking awareness. We did some squats, some calf raises. You might feel some warmth in your legs or your ankles or your feet. Does anything feel different now than when we did this first awareness exercise? And again, we're looking for no pain, nothing should hurt. It might feel like, ooh, that's interesting. Take another big, deep breath. Big exhale. Okay, I got to stepping over the baby gate, I call this one. Again, you could do this from seated. You could just take your leg out to the side. If you're comfortable standing, hang on to your little object, either the wall or the chair. Imagine you've got an obstacle over here, like an ottoman or a doggy gate or baby gate, and you're going to step up and over your little object. So you can bring your leg up and around and up and around to the front. So this version, I'm not really moving my hip too much. I'm seeing how much can I move my thigh. Yeah. If you can take your leg out to the side, imagine your thing, you're stepping over your gate, put your foot down. Okay, now you got to get your other leg up the doggy gate. Shift your weight. Second side. Oh boy, if that's too much, keep hanging onto the chair. Now we're going back. Leg number one, up and over. Shift your weight. Leg number two. Now this round, you can move your body any way you like. You can lean way over. You can lean forward. And it doesn't have to look like what I'm doing. Lean. Whoa. So adding that lean makes it a little more challenging. If that's too crazy, just have a tiny little imaginary obstacle. So maybe you're stepping over a book or a yoga block. Let's just try one more each way. How does that feel to step up and over your obstacle? So this hip mobility, single leg balance, all really good for balance training. Okay, so if that was your up and over, let's try a little ducking under. Imagine you got to go on a hike and you came to one of those trails and there's a chain across to keep the cars from coming in. How would you get down low and duck under? Or maybe there's a big tree branch out on your trail. You're trying to get under your little branch. And remember, we're only doing stuff that feels really good. So if this doesn't feel good, just sit and watch what we're doing. I'm going to tuck down under, shift my weight, come back up. So you can see how you could practice. This could be your exercise routine. You can go, I'm going to do 5 squats. I'm going to do 5 calf raises. I'm going to do my up and over, my under. This would be a nice little routine to train your hips, your legs, your feet. I'm going to do one more each side. Stepping up and under, I should say, not up and over, underneath, ducking under. Last one. Okay, let's go back to our walking. I'm just going to keep whipping us right along. So we had played with wide stance and narrow stance. Now let's play with our speed. Can you take a slow walk? So how does that feel to walk slower than what would be normal? And if you need to, put your hand on the wall. Sometimes slowing down can make an exercise more challenging. Now go slow. See if you can take fewer steps. So I took about 4 or 5 steps to get across my mat. I'm going to see, can I get across in 3? Yeah, so I'm walking slow with a longer stride, longer step, further step. Ooh, that one I got across in 2.5. I'm going to see if I can shorten it up a little more for this last one. Shortening or lengthening my stride. Oh, that one I almost made it across in 2. How does that feel different to take a longer stride? And then let's try going quick. So not rushing, but moving right along. Does your stride change when you walk quickly? And so often I find if I've tripped and fallen, it's because I'm rushing. So training that, doing things in a quicker fashion in a safe place like this is a good thing to practice. Changing your pace, walking slow, walking fast. All right, let's do a little brain exercise. Can you take a walk and as you're walking, move your arm in a big circle? Bonus points if you can watch your hand go by, like watching a cloud in the sky. So again, if this makes you nervous, come to the wall, hang on to the wall. I'm just going to take a little walk. And as I walk, I'm moving my hand in a circle. So this would replicate, let's say you're out walking with a girlfriend and you've got your head turned and you're talking to her. So changing your head position is a really good thing to practice. This is a good brain exercise. Okay, I got last little walking drill. Pause for a second. We're going to practice tripping. So if you're not comfortable doing this today, just watch me. Imagine you got your doggy on a leash or maybe some of your grandkids' toys in the thing and you didn't see them. Can you practice a quick catching yourself on one leg? So what would it feel like to trip and catch yourself? So just do a couple of these if this feels comfortable. So I'm practicing that faster catching myself So this, again, the more you can practice these moves, the more comfortable you will be if something surprising happens, if something out of your control and unexpected happens, that you're practicing of your tripping, falling. Sometimes we've played within our classes rolling on the floor. I don't think we're going to do that today, but just know that that's something you could practice. If you have a padded mat that you can roll back and forth, practicing rolling, going up from standing to being on the floor, the more often you can practice that. I had another client come and have a seat and we'll take another rest that she had been coming to class and we've been practicing that. And she was on her bike in Portland and she got caught by the streetcar. And so her bike stopped and she kept going. And she said she just instinctively tucked and rolled and was not injured because we had practiced all that. Okay, take another big deep breath. Notice your feet. Notice your hips. Big exhale. All right, I want to spend a couple minutes stretching. And then I'll stop our recording and we'll do questions. Since we're seated, this is a nice place to do a hip stretch. If you're able to pick up your leg and grab a hold of your foot and bring it across your leg, if this doesn't feel comfortable, just watch and I'll give you a modification here after we're done. If this feels okay, you can cross your ankle. I'm trying to let this knee drop towards the floor. It might not be there today. It might be like way up like so. But eventually you can let this knee drop. You might even be able to lean forward. So what I feel is a big stretch in the back of my butt, of my bent knee leg. Yeah. Take a big deep breath. So we're just going to take about 5 breaths in each of these stretches. So foot strength and mobility, hip and leg strength and mobility, and then flexibility. Having a bouncy quality to your tissues. And then literally rolling with when unexpected things happen, which they are going to. Okay, I'm going to switch legs. These are all skills that are valuable things to practice. And so, yes, it's good to go to the gym and do an exercise class, but think of all the stuff we did just now in this half an hour or so, 25 minutes, that don't require a gym, that you could just work these into your day. 5 chair squats, 5 calf raises, hold your balance for 1 minute on one leg. So this is my hope for you, is that one of these moves, you're like, I need to practice this. I'm going to do this a couple times next week and just see if I can improve. One more big deep breath. And then come on back up. Let's do a quad or a calf stretch. This one I'm going to hang on to either the chair, or if you've got a wall that you can push your hands into, push your hands into the wall, glue your back heel to the ground. And we're just going to hold this little static lunge. So what I feel is a big stretch down the back of my calf and ankle of my back leg. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can keep your back leg really straight, or you could soften your back knee. That gets your other calf muscle. Take another big deep breath. Big exhale. And then you can switch. And so I designed this program following what we do for our classes and training sessions, what I call ROSS, R-O-S-S. We started with some release work, just mobilizing your foot. Our organization move was that single leg balance where you've got to pull in all your small muscles. Our strength, we did some squats and some calf raises. And then I like to save my stretches for the end. And that's the protocol I follow with all of my clients. Quad stretch, if this doesn't feel good on your knee, if you've had a knee surgery, you're like, I don't know about this one, I'll give you an alternate. If this feels okay, you can grab your foot and pull it to your bum. If you take a look at that and go, oh, that's not for me, this is a nice alternative. Come to where you can touch a wall, put your foot on a chair. So make sure, again, you've got a sturdy chair, sturdy wall. So this is a way to get a little length down the front of your leg, but not such an intense stretch on your little knee. Yep. So either foot on the chair or if you're able to comfortably grab your foot. So we're only doing things that feel really good. One more big deep breath. And then we'll go side number 2. Okay, so this is a good balance challenge if you're doing standing on one leg, grabbing a hold of your foot. Okay, so this option, or face the wall, put the top of your foot on the chair, and then you can control how close to the wall or how close to the chair. Just want to feel a little length down the front of my leg, but not pain. No pain in your knee or your joints. Take another big deep breath. And then come back and have a seat one last time. We'll do one more check-in. Noticing what you notice. You can start with your feet again, just scanning up through your toes, your ankles, your legs, your hips. Notice your breathing. You can give yourself a pat on the back for being kind and curious and courteous. Good job. We tried some new things. And you get a gold star for just showing up today and doing as much as you can do of these moves. So think for a moment, if you were going to go back and repeat some of these, maybe in a couple of days, maybe twice a week, you could pick a minute or two to spend. Which exercises would you go back and do? Which exercises felt challenging? And then which exercises felt easy? And then you can slowly open your eyes. And I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you. And thanks for trying something new with me today.